There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. A house that has a library in it has a soul. Nothing in the affairs of men is worthy of great anxiety. Poets utter great and wise things which they do not themselves understand. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. The soul of man is immortal and imperishable. Courage is a kind of salvation. I have hardly ever known a mathematician who was capable of reasoning. He was a wise man who invented God. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. The soul takes flight to the world that is invisible, but there arriving she is sure of bliss, and forever dwells in paradise. The madness of love is the greatest of heaven's blessings. When men speak ill of thee, live so that nobody will believe them. Human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. The highest reach of injustice is to be deemed just when you are not. The first and best victory is to conquer self. A grateful mind is a great mind, which eventually attracts to itself great things. Death is not the worst that can happen to men. Books are immortal sons defying their sires. You should not honor men more than truth. Love is the pursuit of the whole. I'm trying to think. Don't confuse me with facts. Philosophy is the highest music. Music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. Those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses. Poetry is nearer to vital truth and history. Any man may easily do harm, but not every man can do good to another. Of all the animals, the boy is the most unmanageable. Perhaps there is a pattern set up in the heavens for one who desires to see it, and having seen it, to find one in himself. Astronomy compels the soul to look upwards and leads us from this world to another. Happiness springs from doing good and helping others. If women are expected to do the same work as men, we must teach them the same things. How could they see anything but the shadows if they were never allowed to move their heads? Everything that deceives may be said to enchant. The object of education is to teach us to love what is beautiful. The wise man will want to be ever with him who is better than himself. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. You're my star, a stargazer too, and I wish that I were heaven with 1 billion eyes to look at you. The most virtuous are those who content themselves with being virtuous without seeking to appear so. Musical innovation is full of danger to the state. For when modes of music change, the laws of the state always change with them. The beginning is the most important part of the work. For this feeling of wonder shows that you are a philosopher, since wonder is the only beginning of philosophy. Education is teaching our children to desire the right things. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a harder battle. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Lack of activity destroys the good condition of every human being. You can discover more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound, so they that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. All the gold which is under or upon the earth is not enough to give in exchange for virtue. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. There should exist among the citizens neither extreme poverty nor again excessive wealth, for both are productive of great evil. And we have made of ourselves living cesspools, and driven doctors to invent names for our diseases. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. To conquer oneself is the best and noblest victory. To be vanquished by one's own nature is the worst and most ignoble defeat. I am the wisest man alive, for I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing. In the course of the argument, Socrates remarks that the controversial nature of morals and religion arises out of the difficulty of verifying them. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. When there is an income tax, the just man will pay more, and the unjust less on the same amount of income. Have you ever sensed that our soul is immortal and never dies? Ignorance, the root and the stem of every evil,